trains run very well when properly driven and maintained. But faults and failures do occur. With the help of two friends, driver Walter Drake here and driver Mike Jones, we are going to show you a series of failures on the road so that you will know what to do should you get in trouble yourselves. Walter's stuck all right. I wonder what's the matter. Possibly he does too. Now, the important thing is to get the train going again without doing any harm to it, of course, and with the minimum delay. And he almost certainly can, provided he knows certain things. It could be an airlock in the fuel supply, the operation of the engine shutdown solenoid, the compressed air system unloader valve at fault, faulty jumper cable connections. It could be a brake failure. And there are a couple of switches to watch as well. Now, don't be frightened. Failures only occur one at a time, usually. If you think things out systematically, it's all pretty straightforward. Let's go back and see what first happened to our friend. He was driving along happily enough when, good heavens, number 2 engine light has gone out. This could be serious. First, of course, make sure that the engine really has stopped by using the tachometer switch. Yes, no doubt about it. No, do not try to start the engine again while the train is still running. The throttle is wide open and the engine is still in gear. Besides, you should inspect the engine before trying to restart it. You've no idea what may have happened. At the first convenient stopping place, go and have a look at it. Before leaving the cab, remember to destroy the vacuum, stop the other engine, and make sure the compartment door is locked. You don't want some inquisitive schoolboy fiddling with the controls. The engine seems to be all right. Try starting it from the local panel. But try only 3 times and pause for at least 10 seconds between each attempt to allow the engine to come to rest. Sometimes the flywheel will go on rocking longer than this. No good. Something really is wrong. Next, check on the engine shutdown solenoid. Yes, it has tripped all right. But suppose, just for a moment, that it had not tripped. The first thing then to suspect would be an airlock in the fuel supply to the engine. Here is the fuel pump and feed line. Open this vent. A penny will do. Prime the plunger to get rid of any air. Then close the vent again. But to get back to the solenoid. This trips whenever the engine is short of cooling water or the lubricating oil pressure is low. In either case, the engine should not be used until the oil or water is replenished. Just to check on the oil, there's a dipstick provided, but use only a clean rag to wipe it. Yes, the oil is low. So Walter must inform the guard and explain that engine and final drive have to be isolated. The train must be drawn up to clear the platform ramp. The platform would otherwise be in the way because the plunger of the final drive to be isolated is on that side, the opposite side from a failed engine. The rod for isolating the drives is kept in the brake compartment on these trains. This is the plunger with which the rod must engage. Insert the rod. Now pull out, rotate a quarter turn, and let go. Quite easy, really. So far, so good. But the dog is still engaged with the final gearing, and it must yet be locked in the neutral position. To do this, move the reversing lever to and fro. The dog will move likewise until the plunger drops into the slot on the dog. There. Now the dog is locked clear of both gears. As a check, you must always see that the cardan shaft is free to revolve, like this. Lastly, isolate the engine with the cab key. Whenever you have a failure like this, brief details must be reported at once to the depot through a signalman or a member of a station staff, so that necessary action can be taken there. Back at the train, the guard waits until Walter returns, and then gives the right-of-way. Our friend is on his way again. It could happen to you, and you must be able to act as Walter has done. Now, let's see what might have happened to him this morning. It didn't, but it just might have done. Oh, and it was so early, too. This train had been stabled away from the depot overnight. Hello, something wrong here. Apparently no electrical supply to the control circuit. That indicator light would have lit if there had been. First check on the main battery switch. Someone may have turned it off. No, it's still in the on position. But Walter is not done for yet. He will have a try to regain control from the rear cab. These jumper cables can be a source of trouble, but in this particular case it is most unlikely. There's a light this end, which means the controls in the front cab are probably working too. The cause of this trouble is usually a blown fuse between the main batteries and the power car controls. Walter has worked through the starting up drill from outside and is now returning to the leading cab. No, it will not move unless the reversing lever is properly in place. In fact, there's very little you can do with a train unless it is. Now to start up again. As the train moves off with Walter driving from the leading cab, you can see the control circuit key in place in the rear cab. As Walter goes on his way again, let's see how our other friend, Mike Jones, is doing today. He doesn't seem completely happy. I wonder what's the matter. Yes, something is worrying him. Wheel spin? No, it can't be that. Dry rails and a slight downgrade. But change up from second to third gear is certainly not 20 miles an hour. Must be gearbox trouble. For the time being, throttle back and engage the next highest gear, in this case, gear 3. At the next stopping place, try to correct the fault. It's a slipping annulus brake band, not so formidable as it sounds. First, stop the engines, then select the faulty gear from neutral, or from any other gear for that matter. The air pressure needle dropping shows that the wear adjuster is at work in the gearbox. Remember, the dead man's handle must be depressed all the time to prevent the automatic return of the gears to neutral. You should do this at least 6 times. This is what is happening in the gearbox. You can see the slot turning as the adjuster nut tightens. Off once again.